Margaret Chen had been cleaning office buildings for 30 years and she took pride in her work. She believed that a clean space brought peace to people's minds and she approached every hallway and every window with quiet dignity. At 62 she moved a little slower than she once did, but her work remained impeccable. On this particular Monday morning, Margaret arrived at the corporate headquarters of Riverside Technologies just as dawn was breaking. She had been assigned to this building only 2 weeks earlier and already she could sense the coldness in the air. Not the temperature but something else. The way certain people looked right through her as if she were invisible. She pushed her cleaning cart down the marble hallway of the executive floor. The wheels squeaked softly. Margaret hummed an old hymn her mother used to sing. She found comfort in the familiar melody. 3 executives stood near the elevator bank. Margaret recognized them from previous mornings. There was Victoria Brennan from marketing with her sharp suits and sharper tongue. Beside her stood Robert Caldwell, who always seemed to be performing for an invisible audience. And there was Jennifer Hastings, who followed the other 2 like a shadow seeking approval. Margaret nodded politely as she approached. "Good morning," she said with genuine warmth. Victoria glanced at her briefly, then turned back to her colleagues as if Margaret had not spoken at all. Robert checked his phone. Jennifer at least offered a tight, uncomfortable smile before looking away. Margaret had encountered this before. Many times. She continued past them without taking offense. She understood that some people had never learned to see the humanity in others. She felt sorry for them more than anything else. As she cleaned the tall windows that overlooked the city, Margaret thought about her own life. She thought about her late husband Thomas, who had passed 5 years ago. Thomas had been a teacher. They had raised 3 children in a small house filled with laughter and love. Money had always been tight, but they had been rich in the ways that mattered. After Thomas died, Margaret found that staying busy helped with the grief. Cleaning gave her purpose and structure. She liked the solitude of early mornings. She liked transforming spaces from cluttered to pristine. There was something meditative about the work. The elevator doors opened and more employees filed out onto the executive floor. Margaret moved her cart to the side to let them pass. Most walked by without acknowledgement. A few offered brief nods. One young man named David always said good morning and asked how she was doing. Margaret appreciated David. She made her way to the break room to empty trash bins and wipe down counters. As she worked, she overheard Victoria and Robert talking in the hallway just outside the door. "I cannot believe they have cleaning staff up here during business hours," Victoria was saying. "It is so distracting. Cannot they come after we leave?" Robert laughed. "I know what you mean. Plus it is depressing seeing them around. Reminds me of everything I worked so hard not to become." Margaret felt a small ache in her chest, but she continued wiping the counter methodically. She had heard worse over the years. She had learned not to let such words define her worth. But then Victoria said something that cut deeper. "That old woman with the cart. Did you see her trying to talk to us this morning? So awkward. Some people do not understand boundaries." Jennifer's voice joined in, quieter but still audible. "I think she is new. Maybe someone should tell her to just stay out of the way." Margaret set down her cleaning cloth and took a slow breath. She looked out the small break room window at the morning sky. She reminded herself of what Thomas used to tell her. "The way people treat you says everything about them and nothing about you." She finished her work in the break room and moved on to the conference rooms. In the largest one she found remnants of an early morning meeting. Coffee cups scattered across the long table. Crumbs from pastries. Someone had spilled creamer on the polished wood surface. As Margaret cleaned, she noticed framed photographs on the walls. Company milestones, award ceremonies, team celebrations. In several of the photos she recognized a distinguished man with kind eyes and silver hair. The company founder and CEO, Jonathan Riverside. Margaret had never met him, but she had heard people speak of him with respect. What she did not know, and what no one in that building besides the CEO himself knew, was that Jonathan Riverside had been quietly watching the new cleaning staff member for the past 2 weeks. He had been watching her very carefully. Because Margaret Chen was not just any cleaning woman. She was his wife. They had married quietly 6 months ago after meeting in the most unexpected way. Jonathan had been visiting his mother at an assisted living facility when he encountered Margaret there. She had been visiting her aunt. They had struck up a conversation in the garden. Then another. Then another. Jonathan was a widower. His first wife Elizabeth had passed 3 years earlier. He had thrown himself into his work to cope with the loss. But meeting Margaret had awakened something in him he thought was gone forever. Joy, hope, The simple pleasure of good company. Margaret had been hesitant about the relationship at first. The difference in their circumstances seemed too vast. But Jonathan saw in her everything he valued. Kindness, humility, strength of character, intelligence that came from living fully, not just from formal education. And Margaret saw in Jonathan something equally rare. A successful man who had not let success hollow out his soul. They married in a small ceremony with just family present. Margaret kept her own last name for personal reasons, and they had agreed to keep the marriage private for now. Jonathan wanted Margaret to be free from the scrutiny that came with being married to a CEO. And Margaret had told him she wanted to continue working. "I am not ready to retire," she had said. "I like having purpose. I like my independence." Jonathan understood, but he had worried about her working as a cleaner in corporate environments where people might treat her poorly. Margaret had insisted she would be fine. She wanted to see for herself what kind of people worked at his company. She wanted to observe the culture when no one knew who she was. So Jonathan had arranged for her to be hired through the facilities management company that contracted with Riverside Technologies. Only he knew her true identity. He had been receiving reports from security about how employees treated her. And what he learned was breaking his heart. On this particular morning, Jonathan decided he had seen enough. He had watched through security footage as 3 of his executives dismissed his wife. He had heard through building audio systems their cruel words in the hallway. He had seen talented employees walk past her as if she did not exist. Jonathan Riverside was a patient man, but he was also a man who believed in treating people with dignity. All people, regardless of their position or title. He had built his company on values of respect and integrity. It was time to see if those values were real or just words on a mission statement. He made a phone call. Then another. Then he sent an email to all executive-level staff. Mandatory meeting in the main conference room at 10 o'clock. No exceptions. Margaret finished cleaning the executive floor and took her cart back to the service elevator. She felt tired today. Not physically tired, but tired in her spirit. She wondered if she should tell Jonathan what she had experienced. But she did not want him to think she was complaining. She had chosen this. She would see it through. At 5 minutes before 10, Victoria, Robert and Jennifer entered the main conference room along with 20 other executives. They took their seats around the long table. There was nervous chatter. Unexpected mandatory meetings usually meant something significant was happening. Jonathan Riverside entered at exactly 10 o'clock. He did not smile. He stood at the head of the table and looked at each person in turn. The room fell silent. "Thank you all for coming," he began. His voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. "I want to talk to you today about something fundamental. The culture of this company. The values we claim to uphold." He pressed a button on a remote and the large screen behind him came to life. Security footage began to play. It showed the morning elevator encounter. Victoria glancing at Margaret and turning away. Robert ignoring her greeting. Jennifer's uncomfortable smile. The executives shifted in their seats. Several looked confused. Why were they watching footage of a cleaning woman? Jonathan let the footage play for another moment, then paused it. "This woman," he said, "is someone I have been watching carefully for 2 weeks. Do any of you know who she is?" Silence. A few people shook their heads. Victoria spoke up cautiously. "She is part of the cleaning staff, I believe." "Yes," Jonathan said. "She is part of the cleaning staff. Her name is Margaret Chen. She arrives every morning at 5:30. She works with great care and attention. She treats everyone she encounters with respect." And in return, he paused and his eyes grew cold. "Many of you have treated her as if she is invisible. As if she is beneath your notice." Robert cleared his throat. "With all due respect, sir, I am not sure I understand the point of this meeting. Are we being called in to discuss how we interact with contracted cleaning staff?" Jonathan smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Yes, Robert, that is exactly why you are here. Because how you treat people when you think no one important is watching tells me everything I need to know about your character. It tells me whether you actually believe in the values we claim to uphold or whether you simply perform those values when it benefits you." He clicked to another piece of footage. The audio of Victoria and Robert in the hallway. Their mocking words played through the conference room speakers. Victoria's face went pale. Robert stared at the table. When the audio ended, Jonathan spoke again. "Margaret Chen is my wife." The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Jennifer covered her mouth. Victoria looked as if she might be sick. "We married 6 months ago," Jonathan continued. "She chose to work here under her own name without revealing our relationship because she wanted to understand what kind of people I have working for me. She wanted to see whether the culture I thought I had built was real. And what she discovered has disappointed both of us greatly. He walked slowly around the table. His hands were clasped behind his back. I did not build this company to create a place where people are judged by their job titles. I did not build this company so that executives could look down on those they perceive as lesser. I built this company to be a place where everyone is treated with dignity. Where everyone's contribution is valued. Sir, Victoria said, her voice shaking. I am so sorry, I did not know. Jonathan held up his hand. That is precisely the problem, Victoria. You did not know. And because you did not know, you felt free to be cruel. But here is what you should have known. Regardless of who Margaret is married to, she deserves your respect. Every single person who works in this building, from the mailroom to the executive suite, deserves your respect. He returned to the head of the table. Some of you will face consequences for what I have witnessed. Some of you will receive coaching and mentorship. And some of you, he looked directly at Robert, may need to consider whether this is the right environment for you. Because I will not tolerate this kind of behavior. Not now, not ever. The meeting continued for another 20 minutes. Jonathan spoke about dignity and character. He spoke about the importance of treating everyone as fully human. He reminded them that their titles and positions were not measurements of their worth as people. When the meeting ended, the executives filed out in silence. Several were wiping their eyes. Victoria approached Jonathan before leaving. Mr. Riverside, I truly apologize. I was raised better than that. I have no excuse. Jonathan nodded. Then show me through your actions going forward. Apologize to Margaret, and think carefully about the kind of person you want to be. Later that afternoon, Margaret was cleaning the lobby windows when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to find Victoria standing there. The woman's confident demeanor was gone. She looked small and ashamed. Mrs. Riverside, Victoria began, then stopped. May I call you Margaret? Margaret smiled gently. Of course. Margaret, the first owe you an apology. The way I treated you was inexcusable. I have been thinking about it all day, and I realize I have been walking around this building for years treating people I considered beneath me as if they were not even there. I am ashamed, and I am sorry. Margaret set down her cleaning cloth. She looked at Victoria with kind eyes. Thank you for saying that. It takes courage to apologize. I do not deserve your kindness, Victoria said. Her voice broke slightly. Margaret reached out and touched Victoria's arm. We all have moments we are not proud of. The question is what we do next. Do we learn and grow, or do we stay the same? Victoria nodded. I want to be better. Then you will be, Margaret said simply. It is never too late to change. Over the following weeks, the culture at Riverside Technologies began to shift. Executives who had rushed past the cleaning staff now stopped to say good morning. People learned names. David, the young man who had always been kind to Margaret, organized a lunch where staff from different departments could meet and talk. Robert Caldwell resigned. In his exit interview, he admitted that Jonathan was right. He had lost sight of what mattered. He said he needed to do some soul searching. Margaret continued cleaning for another month before finally deciding to retire. But by then she had accomplished what she set out to do. She had helped shine a light on something that needed to change. And she had done it not through confrontation but through quiet dignity and grace. On her last day, Jonathan came down to the lobby at the end of her shift. He took her cleaning cart and walked with her to the service elevator. Thank you, he said quietly, for showing us who we really were, for giving us a chance to be better. Margaret smiled and took his hand. We all need mirrors sometimes, to see ourselves clearly. As they walked out of the building together into the golden afternoon light, Margaret thought about what she had learned. She had learned that kindness is always noticed even when it seems invisible. She had learned that character is revealed not in grand gestures but in small daily choices. And she had learned that it is never too late for people to recognize their own humanity and the humanity of others. Years later, when people asked Jonathan Riverside about the secret to building a strong company culture, he always told them the same story. The story of a cleaning woman who taught his executives the most important lesson they would ever learn. That every person you encounter is carrying a story and deserves to be treated with dignity. That titles and positions are temporary but character is eternal. And that the measure of a person is not found in how they treat those above them but in how they treat those they believe are below them. Margaret Chen never sought recognition for what she did. She simply lived according to the values her mother and Thomas had taught her. Treat everyone with kindness. See the humanity in every person. And remember that we are all just walking each other home. And in the end, that was the greatest lesson of all.